And Geeks!
Geeks!
Hello and welcome to episode Star Wars
from London
of Geeks, the world's #1 entertainment podcast recorded in this room. The room today is a hotel room in London.
Hey.
We are, in London. I'm your host, Al White. Joining me today, Tamara Ishida.
Ishida.
Hi.
Christopher Straver.
Hi.
Okay, he was. Yeah, we're gonna.
Do you want me to close the window? I'm just thinking.
Oh yeah, we're gonna close the window. You cool doing that? Thank you. See, unless you want to hear London sirens as opposed to the regular
It's
LA
a bit different
sirens.
from the
LA sirens. So yeah, we are going to be doing a special cast today. We all just got out of Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Just as a warning, this is going to be full-on spoilers the whole time. Not the whole time, probably, but a lot of the time there will be full-on spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film yet, go see the film. Then you can come back, listen to this.
Come back.
And yeah, so we just had up our regular weekly episode 23 just went up. That was with Alex and Nate and Melissa over in LA. You can listen to that.
Nathan,
we have a message for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to articulate this, Tamara?
Stay on the microphone.
Always stay on the mic, man. Always stay on the mic. So yeah, we're going to talk Star Wars. We had a bit of... I'm going to tell a little story first.
Okay, go ahead.
Which is how I fucked up our Star Wars experience. So, when those tickets went on sale months and months ago, I jumped on top of it, but only a couple of days later, because we thought we might be in England. We weren't sure. So we figured it out, and in England, it's not quite as crazy in LA. In California, it was, very hard to get tickets in the first few days. But yeah, we came in, there were plenty of places. I picked, a good enough cinema that I was happy with. Tickets were definitely going. And we had 6 of us that wanted to go, so I bought a bunch of tickets, and I bought it for the midnight screening. And on IMDb, Internet Movie Database, and on all the billboards, it said Star Wars: Force Awakens coming out on the 18th of wherever we are now.
That's the 18th.
18th of December.
1/8.
And so midnight screenings, evening of the 17th at midnight. So I booked in one of those, got all excited. Planned a whole trip around that. Trains, cars, flights. Got in this morning at 10 in the morning to London. Really tired. Did the stuff we had to do. Went to sleep for about 3 hours. Came out and met you guys. Got some food. Then realised that it was everywhere. People were talking about Star Wars. It was on all the cinemas. It had been on all day on the 17th in England and in America. And the actual screening was at 12:01 on the 17th, which actually means it was midnight on the 16th.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And we had missed our screening.
I still don't understand though. Like, why was it 17th? Like, when it said 18th on the IMDb.
I don't know, man.
Like,
because technically it was in the 17th. So I would count midnight 17th would be that evening for me. But they were counting it as 1 minute past, so it was the next day. If you see
which is still 17th and not 18th.
No. So for them, it was the booking that I did is on the midnight on the 16th, but I did it midnight on the 17th. But because it's actually 1 minute past midnight, it put it into the 17th on their system.
Mm-hmm. Ah,
if you see what I mean?
Yep.
So it's actually midnight 16th in my head. That's how my head works.
Well,
so anyway, that went well. But we managed to find tickets to a nice little screening with some nice seats.
I have this strong suspicion that Chris probably have seen it already.
Yeah, Chris
before we all saw it,
he spent all day at the
I think
cinema.
he was there in the morning
Just
to
watching
watch it.
Yep.
Yeah.
We saw it 3 times.
So we
3 times.
so we watched it in 3D, which we wanted in 2D, but we could only get in 3D at the end.
Which actually wasn't a bad idea then.
yeah.
Like, I quite liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. I would actually recommend it in 3D. I think 2D is best for posterity, obviously, but that's what you'll have at home when you digital your Blu-rays or whatever.
Yeah.
However you get this stuff.
It might be too early for this, but not too early. But I discovered something great to all the Asian listeners out there. That
What's happening?
3D glasses, when you wear it like this, the glasses were far too close to your eyes. And it just looks a bit weird and it looks a bit smoky. Put something on your nose and have a distance from your eyes. It looks much better.
What did you
I
put on your
discovered
nose?
it for the first time this evening. I have paper napkin on my nose.
No way!
And it actually, the difference is massive. It's
just the perspective of it.
It's less tiring. It looks a bit more focused. It's a huge difference.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was sitting here thinking, is he going down this road? Yep. Clearly went down that road. Good to know.
The designers and
it's this
top Asian 3D tips from Tamro.
Yeah.
So yeah, we saw it in 3D. It was great in 3D. I think like the holographic kind of sequences, the space sections, obviously, just give it a nice depth to it. I wouldn't necessarily say I prefer it, but it definitely wasn't distracting in any way.
No.
I enjoy it. All right, so we also went with Mark Hutchins, who we work with. He does effects for Tessellate. And Bruno Centofanti, who we also work with. He does some stuff.
Song lyrics.
They gave us their notes. They couldn't join us for the podcast because it's really crazy late now. It's like 3 a.m.
Yep.
But they gave us their notes, so I will chime in every now and then with their thoughts. We haven't really discussed it yet, how we felt properly about it. We've been trying to keep a lid on it.
Yeah.
So, first of all, let's just go on very, very quickly and say, because a little bit, because how much of a Star Wars fan we are. Because we're in a weird situation, because none of us are crazy Star Wars fans.
Okay.
I'm probably the biggest Star Wars fan out of 4 of us.
I think so, yeah.
But I'm not crazy. I just really loved it growing up.
Are you less of a fan than Alex Chard?
Yes, I think everyone in the world is a fan of Alex Chard. He claimed it, co-host Alex Chard claimed it the greatest film of the year, I think 2 weeks ago. So he really doubled down on that one. Yeah, so me personally, I love the original ones. I grew up with them. Empire was always my favourite. The prequels, I actually enjoyed the first one enough when I saw it, but I was disappointed, obviously. Second one I didn't enjoy, and third one I've never been able to get through. And the more you try now, the further away you get from when it came out, it's just impossible. They're horrible films. They look dreadful. But I got crazy excited for this film. I don't know if it's just that first trailer, but something about it just hit all the notes that I wanted.
Did you see the originals in the cinema?
So the first film I ever saw in the cinema was Return of the Jedi, because I was 84, I think, and I was 4 years old.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't have watched it in the cinema.
You were too young.
Yeah.
Well, this is why it's interesting, and this is why I think it's quite good, because you came
to it... Are you maybe the only one on this table that used to...
Yes, I'm the oldest and wisest.
I'm not rubbing it in, but, cinema.
So you're done talking.
Was it black and white or was it in colour?
Chris is
it's like, what was the first film you saw in cinema?
Oh, it was a Japanese movie.
Was it as cool as Return of the Jedi?
Not really.
I can't say
it
was
about
as cool as
a little guy traveling down the river.
A little guy?
Yeah.
How little was this little guy?
In a tea-bowl. We'll talk about it later.
That sounds very confusing. So when did you come to Star Wars? What are your feelings about Star Wars?
So I think I watched the originals on video, VHS, not DVD. Then I think I watched the prequels in cinema.
Okay.
But I've forgotten the originals. Like I do. So past 2 days I've been watching the original trilogy on my laptop, which has been interesting experience because I did actually remember many scenes. Like, oh yeah, I remember that moment, So I finally realized how sort of powerful, memorable it was. Yeah, that was interesting.
Okay, so you had a good perspective. You had a couple of days to catch and rewatching stuff and then come to this. Chris, you're young enough that the prequels were really your first exposure.
Yep, and I was young watching them, so I obviously enjoyed them at the time, and I used to drag my mum to go and see them. She fell asleep at every single one. So
that was a wise decision.
Yeah, that was a good sign that maybe they're not so great.
So did you watch the original ones after the prequels? Or
yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Is this where you say you've never seen the originals? Is that what's about to happen?
No, I've seen them, but I really don't remember them.
Really don't remember?
Yeah,
no, that's fair enough.
Empire Strikes Back, I remember.
Yeah, we went to a Secret Cinema.
Cinema.
The Empire Strikes Back a couple of months ago.
And I really enjoyed that one. Yeah, that's good. But yeah, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I played a video game. This what was it, Episode 1 on PS1.
Yeah, I remember
PS1. I played it on PC.
They had the great N64 one, didn't they? The pod racer one.
Yeah.
They
had it on PC as well. I used to play it.
That was pretty cool.
I loved
it.
Good.
Katie,
you were Anakin Skywalker.
How are you with Star Wars then?
Other
than being Anakin Skywalker.
That was awesome. Right. I just like racing and shooting games. That's not how you ride a horse.
That's how I ride a horse.
That's how you fall off a horse. No, I watched the originals. I've never been that avid fan of picking out all of the particulars and foreseeing things or being able to trace heritage or legacy back to characters, but I always really enjoyed them for the stories. But I would watch them now and be able to, like you said, pick out certain scenes that I was like, oh yeah, I remember this one. And even watching the one today, it still harkened back to some other memories or plot points that I had forgotten.
Yeah.
So those kind of resurfaced, but I always enjoy them.
Okay.
I'm not really into I haven't seen a lot of the prequels though.
Yeah, so the lore's not that exciting, but you do appreciate it. Yeah. And Bruno, who we went with, he didn't really care either way, but he just enjoyed going on for a ride. And he's a director, so enjoyed it from that angle. Mark, who we went with, was a bigger Star Wars fan than me. He was pretty crazy about Star Wars. And he had some interesting opinions that we'll get to later.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about the film now. Let's get right into it. I mean, first of all, let's just, say our overall impressions. Did we enjoy it? Was it, I mean, it's honestly, you can talk about the prequels, but this film is the one, whether people like it or don't like it or criticize it, this is definitely the one that people are waiting for longest, because you got the same characters coming back, it continues the story. Yeah. We never really thought we were going to get this. And the way we've been delivered it is quite surprising. So yeah, like, has it been worth when was it, 84, 94, 2004? That's 30 years since we've seen Han Solo and people. Has it been, worth that long? Does it feel like it is part of that continuation? Tamara, what's up with you? Because you just watched the original.
Okay, I loved it.
Yeah?
I really did. I loved it not because it was a good Star Wars movie, but it was just a really good movie. Like, I enjoyed it as a movie, and it was really good. So yeah, for that reason, I loved it. I felt the originals are a little bit, like, they're exciting, but they're a little bit dated, they're a bit slow at times. So this one, I think, for me, is the best out of the
It's your favourite
thing. Yeah.
It's your favourite Star Wars now?
I think so.
Interesting.
What's your second favorite?
The second favorite,
Like, if you had to rate them all.
Empire Strikes Back, maybe?
That's the correct
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
From those three.
Cookie.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you feel it fitted? Because you were just saying you thought you realised it because it was a great movie. Whether or not it was a great Star Wars movie is a different matter. Did you feel it fit into the lore? Did you feel it was?
Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris, what were your overall feelings?
Yeah, I loved it as well.
Yeah.
That was really exciting. I felt a lot about the characters as well. You really do feel for Rey and her situation. It was an awesome film.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely be following along with this series.
Yeah.
Cool. I loved it. The first two acts, we'll get into the details. I really, really loved. I wasn't as keen on the third act. But yeah, I had a great time with it. The first two acts, I was actually thinking, this is going to be hard to say to people, but this is possibly my favourite Star Wars film. By the third act, probably Empire would still be my favourite, but yeah, it definitely felt like a good continuation. There was there are a lot of nods.
Yeah. But not too many that it gets cheesy.
By the end, they were teetering.
Yeah, they were.
Because there was just a lot of exact lines, even from some of the same characters, and some shots which were exactly the same. And then every scene where you had creatures in, you had to have one other Easter egg of some little fan favorite from the previous films, just like pottering along in the background or something, which was great. I really loved it. I was just getting to that point where maybe you're doing too much fan service. And it might get in the way of the story, because I feel Abrams, when he redid the Star Trek, I don't really care about Star Trek, but I really enjoyed those films until they started bringing the fan service, and I felt it was too much and it was a bit too shoehorned.
Sure.
But no, I felt they got away with it, and I felt it definitely felt like a genuine Star Wars film.
And the humour, good balance of humour.
We're going to talk about humour definitely a little bit.
You should.
Katie.
Well, I am in agreement with the positive comments or whatever, but I really liked the throwbacks, and I liked the fan references, because it kind of, and I know that this is going to come out wrongly phrased, but it was almost like a Christmas special of shows that you have watched for a really long time, and you have these characters that you have fallen in love with, and you embody. Like I read this article about the line that was in front of the major cinema for one of the first Star Wars when it came out, and how the guys were dressed like Skywalkers, and the girls all had Leia buns, and you know, it was just like those are people that you grow up with, and you like have your favorite of the trilogy and everything. And so when you watched this, it was almost like you got the gang back together again, you know, and you got to see everybody in there, and it was like there was this great energy, and then you got to see the legacy continuing with a younger, vibrant, very talented cast that you could get behind as well. Like, you know, girls are now going to be putting like 3 little things in their hair, and it's like
wrapping bandages.
Yeah, exactly, and you get like the cool flowy dress because those were all Skywalker things, but now girls get to have them too. And so I think that it was this great like end to some stories, but a positive and energetic beginning to some really fun new characters and stories.
Yeah, you looked really buzzing at the end. You looked really excited.
It was, I couldn't stop smiling through like the last 2 parts. I mean, the first act was great and everything, but it was like it built up into these like such amazing scenes and so high intensity. Like the first lightsaber scene that you see, I was like, wow, that was such a great lightsaber battle. And then the second one comes and I was like, that first one sucked. Like the second one is 10 times that. And it was just so like, I never got bored with it. And I never got to the point where I was like, man, I hope they end it soon. I just wanted it to keep going because they were strong, in my opinion, the whole way through.
That was the thing that Bruno was saying, you know, it was just so fast. He said there's so much, like, how can you appreciate what happened with the characters? I think it was very, very quick, and he wasn't necessarily saying that was a bad thing, but it's true, like, the first 2 acts in particular are breathless.
I think that's partially because he doesn't really know the originals, so, you know,
he's not attached so much to the pre-law, I definitely think this film is affected by how much you love the originals, how much you've seen them, you know, how much those characters mean to you. If you're growing up now and you've never seen the originals, then I'd be interested.
You'd still enjoy it, definitely.
I think, bottom line, it's a really, really fun film. I think it's probably, I actually think it's without a doubt the best or most accomplished as a director film that Abrams has done. He's balancing a lot of stuff in here, from the humor.
No flares.
Very few flares. A few flares, very few. But he's balancing so many things, and it does what Star Wars is meant to do. It's an adventure film, but it has, you know, soap opera in it, and it's funny and sad, and there's romance, and there's, you know, danger, and there's you know, familial problems. And it's, you know, it ticked off all of the stuff that Star Wars meant to do that the prequels never did. The prequels just got tied up in politics and very strange things.
That makes me think maybe it was missing the sort of philosophy or like life lesson, because in the original there was a lot of that.
I feel that came more later. I feel in the first Star Wars there wasn't quite as much philosophy. I mean, there's a little bit when he's in training, I guess. No, that's 2 minutes. It pushes them into it very quickly, because I think it just suggests they already know what Jedis are. We know what Jedis are. So that philosophy is always, I think, taken for granted a bit. But so Mark Hutchins, the really big Star Wars fan amongst us, he was actually the least in favour of it. He came out having problems with it. He liked the third act. He liked some of the stuff that happened with Han Solo at the end. Obviously, we're going to full spoilers, so Han Solo dies in this film, but we'll talk about that later. He also just sent me a little text, some of his things. He said it was a really good film. A few bits puzzled him, though. He liked how Kylo Ren was conflicted. And, you know, having that other side where someone's in the dark side but is actually tempted by the light side, which is an interesting way around to have it. Whether or not that makes sense or not. He also said he thought killing Han Solo was good, but they didn't milk it enough emotionally. He thought in Empire Strikes Back, when you have Luke finding out that Vader is father and his hand cut off, it felt emotional, and then Vader stepping in to stop the Emperor killing him was, you know, the great payoff from that in Return of the Jedi. And he just thought it felt a bit cold when Han Solo died. There was a nice sort of hand on the cheek touch, but he felt particularly Chewbacca just wasn't, you know, he gets emotional and shoots a few people, but then he just seems alright. He just kind of mopes around a little bit afterwards.
Did Chewbacca actually cry?
I don't know if you
There
could
was
tell.
a shot of him alone after they
Yeah, he's kind of like dark-eyed, isn't he?
Yeah.
With
I was just wondering
he's got
if he
matted
physically
fur.
is able to cry.
I don't think so.
It's just like, sort of like
It's
puppy
soggy.
wet.
He's just all soggy. It looks like when he's just in the shower.
Yeah.
And it's just, you see how thin he really is, and his hair's just like... What did he say? So he actually, Mark actually says here, his final note is the first Star Trek reboot had far more emotional touches in it with Kirk's, spoilers for Star Trek reboot, with Kirk's father dying, Spock's mother dying moments in, blah blah blah. He felt although Abrams is a Star Wars fan, he did a better Star Trek film than a Star Wars fan.
Okay.
Which I disagree with, but I'm not a Star Trek fan, so I can't really speak to the my sentence just stopped there.
To that, yeah.
Not the validity. What's the word? I can't really speak to the how in tone with Star Trek is really good.
So where do we start?
Man, I got so many things. So there were things I didn't like about this film. So I'm going to say some stuff I don't like about it because I really fucking love this film.
Yeah.
I really, really, really did. I was very excited. The first two acts, Mark didn't like the first act. He thought it was too slow. It took a while.
It's funny, isn't it? Because he said it's too slow.
Yeah.
Bruno says it's too fast.
Yeah. And I think it was fast.
Yeah.
But because it does take a long while. You are getting the gang back together, and I felt they did a great job at that. I felt they did a really good job of organically bringing people in, so it didn't feel too grandiose. Right. And they even played it pretty soft with, when Leia's revealed. There's not this huge sweeping moment of someone walking out of the shadows and the music. It's just like, oh hey, there's she, and then it's lovely and emotional.
Even have 3CPO or
C3PO. Yeah, that was a funny little interject.
Annoying though, but
yeah. Well, as he.
But he's always been so. Yeah,
come on. Yeah, he's lovely.
Better than Jojo.
BB-8's fucking incredible.
BB-8
is so good.
Yeah.
Just a little thing like him stepping down the steps.
Oh my god.
So adorable.
I couldn't handle it.
Because I just thought, they're just going to cut from him at the top to the bottom of the steps. And I'm just going to be going, how the fuck did he get down those steps? But they show you him.
Yeah.
He just looks at every step.
And when he was told to hold on, I was thinking, how does he gonna do that? Yeah. Then, 30 seconds later, we see how he does it.
Yeah.
It's really well done.
Yeah, BB-8's fantastic.
Thumbs up part.
The thumbs up was so good. He was that was great.
It was hilarious.
I mean, in terms of putting some emotions to the robot, much better job than R2-D2.
I know.
Oh, yeah. You can't speak ill of R2-D2 or C-3PO. They are classic and they're incredible. But BB-8 honestly
really well done.
is at least as good, if not better. And he has so much character. I say he with no idea.
And they told him that his buddy died, and he just rolled really quick.
Yeah. His face just goes like.
He just cried and ran out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love that.
Watching the originals, I kept thinking, R2-D2 is so slow. He cannot catch up with people.
He can't go up any stairs whatsoever.
Yeah.
R2-D2 can't do any stairs. He's like the Daleks. That's how you get away. You just go down the staircase.
Gets stuck in everything. Even at the last scene when she's on the island or whatever, and you have R2-D2 get out of the talking with, he's just sitting at the bottom. So he's like, I can't get up that.
What am I gonna do?
Oh, the BB-8 straw we found in the cinema.
We found. Just stole it off a child.
Perfect for your cerveza, for your beers.
Alright, so I'm going to go through a bunch of stuff. You guys just pipe in, when you want to.
Okay.
I'm using the word pipe a lot these days, I don't know. So comedy. The comedy in this was really interesting because I think the big thing with Star Wars is the charm of the characters, and the fact that a lot of time they're having fun. That's the thing, they are having fun. And in this, there was a lot more drama straight away from the off because the presence of danger is immediately there. And Han Solo's a little bit more somber. He's still definitely got the best comedy lines, without a doubt.
The pilot at the beginning was really funny. He made fun of Kylo Ren.
Oh yeah. So no, but this is.
Do you talk or do I talk?
No, exactly. But this is going to be my point. This film did a great, the prequels again. Not to keep going on about them, but they really had no clue at the comedy. Just failed at the comedy and the charm.
Yeah.
Completely. And that's why people then embraced Firefly and Serenity, was because that was something where it was doing what Star Wars did. It had the adventure and the exploration and the comedy and the charm. It had, also contextually the world was old and, decayed a bit more, which this one definitely embraced completely, of everything's a little bit broken and everything's rusty and it gets real character and, history.
I'm curious though if how much of Han Solo's comedy that came across were on the script, because quite a lot of the comedy was just his look or his reaction.
Yeah. But I think
he did them really well.
I think it is that charm between the characters and him being over Chewie, just some great physical kind of comedy.
Yeah.
But like, what I mean is, did he do that because he's just happy that he's back on the set?
Yeah,
and,
but you could genuinely feel it. In
yeah,
some scenes.
exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely makes it. You could feel that they were happy, genuinely. You know, when he first was into Millennium Falcon and he's like sitting down that cockpit or looking around the cockpit, you could really feel that he was enjoying being back in that set and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he wasn't. Maybe he's just a very good actor, but it really felt like he could feel it. But the comedy's something that's interesting, because when Guardians of the Galaxy came out a couple of years ago, it's a big thing that people said, oh man, because we knew Star Wars films were being made at a time, we hadn't seen any trailers, no idea what was going to happen with them, and everyone was, wow, Guardians is amazing. Everyone loved Guardians of the Galaxy. It's obviously a very funny film, and everyone's saying, well, this is Star Wars has to live up to this now. Like, it has to be as enjoyable as this film. That's going to be really, really tough. Yeah. And I was really proud of this film, because for the most part, it didn't do, like, Guardians is way more on the nose funny. It's much more we are adventure comedy. Whereas this just put the charm into the comedy. Yeah. But like you said, there were these weird little moments, like that beginning bit where you have this, your first time, okay, so it's the opening scene. You have them in this encampment trying to get this, information across of where Luke Skywalker might be. It's nighttime. What do they call it now? What do they call the baddies now? Not the Empire.
The One Nation.
First Order?
First Order. Yes.
Wow.
One Nation.
You're expertly.
It's confusing.
It's a lot. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Things flying around.
Stormtroopers
aren't stormtroopers.
I've already forgotten. What was it called?
First Order.
It's like order. I'm losing order. I keep getting first. And what's that? The First Order come in. They start blowing stuff up, and they're looking for it, and it's all that. And then they capture the guy, and it's pretty dark. And then I think, yeah. They capture him, and then they drag him out, and you have Kylo Ren's first entrance, and he's really, your new Darth Vader.
Intimidating.
And he's fucking
he stops
great.
The shot, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, he uses the Force to stop.
Oh, yeah.
That was badass.
So we'll talk more about Kylo Ren later, so don't worry. But he's your first time to be introduced to the central baddie of the film, and a very hype baddie as well from the trailers. And the guy sits there and cracks a joke in his face. Yeah. They just sit there and like look at each other, and it's like, so do I talk? Do you talk? Who goes first? Kind of thing. And I liked it, but there were a few jokes like this in the film that felt kind of weird to me. It was like, this is, it's a little bit, not taking the world seriously. I don't feel anyone would talk to Kylo Ren like that, like particularly if you're, one of the opposition.
Well, he was the best fighter, or the best pilot.
Yeah, he was a cheeky man.
So he had like the sarcasm.
I wasn't able to make notes because I obviously didn't want my phone on during the cinema, because I'm not an animal.
Yeah, like some
of the fucking people in it. Yeah. But yeah, there were a few moments. I counted maybe 4 or 5 moments in the film where you had moments like that, which really broke the integrity of the world for the sake of humor.
Finn had some of those lines.
Yeah.
That really busted me.
But for the most part,
in my brain, I was like, "You're new, okay? Calm down." Let Han Solo do the talking.
But for the most part, and that's when I felt the comedy worked best with Han Solo, and where it was more situated and it felt more genuine to the world and the characters. There were just a few bits which felt a little bit awkward, but still fun. So some of my other problems. One of my favorite actors. You got a lot of great cast in this film.
Yeah.
You have
cameos.
Obviously Harrison Ford. You have Mark Hamill. We'll get to him later as well. Yep. Carrie Fisher, Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega. I always want to say Bodega. Oscar Isaac, who was playing Poe. And then Andy Serkis, who's playing the Supreme Leader Snoke. That's who he was playing. I kept thinking, where the fuck is Andy Serkis? He was playing.
He didn't have
the big CGI guy.
Spot.
No,
and then
they just reference him a lot.
Domhnall Gleeson, who's playing General Hux, who I love this guy. He's the ginger kid from About Time. He's in Ex Machina.
What's his name?
Domhnall Gleeson.
I can never remember his name, but I like him.
We had Max von Sydow. We had Anthony Daniels back for C-3PO. Peter Mayhew back for Chewbacca. Gwendolyn Christie from Game of Thrones for Captain Phasma. Who Simon Pegg apparently for Unka Plot.
What?
Yeah, I know. I saw his name in the credits, and I did not see him in the film.
Which one's what?
Unka Plot. Blink and you miss it, Simon Pegg. Probably just for one little bit because he was with Abrams for Star Trek, obviously.
Yeah,
and he's probably. I'm sure he's a big Star Wars fan, so they just asked a favor. Can I be in one scene of Star Wars, please?
Unka Plot.
Incredible cast. Now, my favorite actor out of all of these, just from my history with these actors, obviously you love Harrison Ford and blah blah blah, but my favorite modern actor out of all of these new great faces is actually Donald Gleeson. I love him. I really think he's a fantastic actor. He was my least favorite thing in this film. By a long, long way.
Yeah.
He was so over the top, so British, Nazi, like this weird, just shouty general, very one tone, and very much playing up to some of the characters from the first Star Wars film, only to the extreme. And he's the only person who really challenges Kylo Ren, which I thought was an interesting dynamic to have.
He does it a lot.
Yeah, he talks down to him a lot. No one challenged Darth Vader, so it was interesting to have that dynamic. But he was... I didn't like his character.
I wanted one scene where he mouthed off to Kylo Ren and Kylo Ren just like threw him against a wall or like held him up, did something because I kind of got that... Well, we can go into Kylo Ren's character, I guess, in a little bit. But
we can go into it right now.
I don't know. I didn't...
Segue.
I didn't think they did. They made him into kind of like this pouty kid that had a lot of powers. Because like he threw his tantrums.
Yeah.
The stormtroopers didn't respect him. His peers
but that was one of the other comedy bits.
Yeah,
the stormtroopers are walking towards him, and he's slashing away, and then they pan out to the stormtroopers. And like, nah, I got something else to do, and they turn around and walk away. And it was great. It was really funny
because they put some humanity into the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
It's true, but that would never have been in the original Star Wars. It was kind of
overwhelming
weird.
humanity from the stormtroopers because you're on a ride with one of them that's giving up the resistance, and his battle against fighting and killing who could possibly be his friends and the only people he's ever known his entire life. And he then turned on them. So you have that stormtrooper story already there. And as funny as that is, because we've been seeing all these videos, stormtroopers and Darth Vader, and you see these shirts where they're like doing selfies together and all this stuff. So you get that, like,
I was waiting for that.
Everyone's making fun of that dynamic, but that's for Darth Vader. Like, it's easy to do that when you don't have that character anymore. And I just didn't feel like, besides that first scene with Kylo Ren, I didn't feel like he was a force, no pun intended, to be reckoned with.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, everyone kind of looked at him as this kid who they're like, you still have training to do, this person kicked your ass, blah blah blah, and it's just he just was kind of whiny. And even from the beginning you see that not the weakness, but you see him wrestling with
having a tantrum and
talking to Darth Vader's helmet, looking, constantly needing that reassurance. And he was just kind of like this malleable thing. And
yeah, he was having these opportunities where he's being spoken down to, and now he's going to come back, and he's like as a different character. I think
will definitely be back. Well, yeah, he'll now he's got a scar on his face. Yeah. So the helmet
it's also very hard to act when you cannot show your face. So it was very smart choice that they took the mask off from quite early. Not that early, but
it's pretty far through. They only do it twice, to be fair.
Really?
Yeah, because he takes it off once to show her, isn't it?
But it really surprised me when he did that. And you can do that in this film, And so from that on, it like fitted in so nicely that so he's really in between.
Yeah,
but at the beginning, before we saw his face, it was like, he's just a bit weird because too different from Darth Vader. What I'm trying to say, I guess, is that it kind of made sense once we saw the face.
Okay, so the payoff made it work. Yeah. But so I'm actually, I feel differently about it from all of you. My favorite character in this by far, other than BB-8, was Kylo Ren. I absolutely loved him. I loved him with the mask on, and I liked the fact that he was undermined at points. I thought it made him a much more interesting character. Yeah, but I really liked that. I liked that he threw tantrums, and I liked that he was more personally involved. Darth Vader's always very cold, and I thought it would have been very boring. Because let's be clear, we've got so much stuff to cover here, so it's very hard to get through. But this film's one of its biggest flaws for me was that it very, very closely replicates so much from A New Hope. and it interjects a couple of things from Empire Strikes Back. But the story beats are very similar. The narrative structure is very similar. The ending, why I don't really like the third act, is because it's incredibly similar. You even have a new Death Star, you have a new funnel thing they have to shoot, and I'm so bored of seeing them do that, and I thought that was painfully unimaginative.
But it was bigger!
Yeah, and then they make a joke out of it. Han Solo goes, oh great, it's bigger. Well, that's not really good enough. You know, I really want the imagination to think of it. You're throwing all these... I thought the first two acts threw all these great balls in the air, and then I wanted to see them do something more interesting with it, and they didn't. But Kylo Ren was one of my favourite characters because it was like, I didn't want to see just another Darth Vader. And now from the trailers or so far, it's like, it's just going to be another Darth Vader. And he wasn't. He was more interesting. He was more complicated. I didn't like him taking off the mask when he did to her. I didn't feel she, you know, had earned that from him. Yeah. And I needed to feel the fear with him was building. And I wanted it to build a little bit more. Yeah, I would have liked to see him do one more thing that was really insidiously nasty. And the payoff of him taking off the mask at the end when he's there with his father would have been so much more, I think. If you just had that moment and you're like, oh, he's just a kid. And you hadn't really noticed that.
Did she make him take off the mask?
No.
No, he took it off.
He did of his own volition. Yeah, he did of his own volition.
It was like basically at the beginning before they started talking.
And I think his acting with the mask, I thought his physicality was fantastic. And his voice, the effect they did to his voice was perfect. Great. Because we live in the era now since The Dark Knight Rises, and well, really since Heath Ledger's Joker, I guess, of weird voices being the villain. How many weird voices you can do. I just watched that Mission Impossible, and Rogue Nation, just weird voice baddie and that. They're always just, how many strange voices can you do? And I thought what they did to his was so good. It was really creepy, but really kind of sincere. I loved Kylo Ren, and I'm so happy he didn't die. I was genuinely worried they were just going to kill him at the end. I was going, oh man, now you got to think of another villain and you won't be as good.
For me, what I loved about this film is this really nice passing on from the old generation to the new generation, and it goes to every single aspects of the film. So in this case, it's gonna be pretty impossible to top Darth Vader. So it was quite smart choice to sort of go somewhere a bit different.
I think so. Because I love Darth Maul was a great villain as well, but they dispatched him immediately, which is always a shame. So I think they've been smart to hang on to this one. He's a very cool.
And so therefore the Death Star for me, it didn't really bother me because they're doing it again to sort of repeat it. So the next one is if they have the Force Death Star, then I'm gonna be
we're done with the Death Star. The guys aren't making them anymore.
There's just so many different ways it could have gone. Because you're right. They passed it on very organically. When you get that pan and they go that piece of junk and you don't even think about it, and then you pan and the Millennium Falcon's there. It's so exciting. It really is, and they do it so organically, and it's all a little bit tenuous, but it does make sense. Everything contextually made sense in the world. They passed everything on fantastically, and they didn't just do it in here's Harrison Ford. So that's something we haven't really talked about. Like Harrison Ford, we knew he was going to be in this movie. We knew a lot of them were returning. Had no idea how much of this film was going to be Harrison Ford. Like he is one of the leads of the movie, and him and Chewbacca, and it's a proper him and Chewbacca tale with these new kids, and it's very organic, that kind of collaboration between them.
It felt almost like they waited this long for Harrison Ford to get old enough to play that role.
He looked great.
He still looks really good.
He looked great. Such sympathetic eyes. Like us, which
it was funny though when he first ran into Princess Leia, and he was like, "Oh, you changed your hair," and she was like, "You got a new coat, or you have the same coat on." He's like, "Nope, new coat."
Same tailor.
I know, same place, new one.
Same planet.
Yeah, they did some. They definitely did some CGI work to her face. She had the glow of CGI work when you have actors and they try and make them look younger or something.
Her hair is so good.
I mean, Carrie Fisher looks fantastic, and she's a wonderful lady. So I felt she was underused in this in terms of character.
For real.
She had no zest.
So good. She has all that personality in her. So why would you not use that feistiness in her or something?
And there was like you were saying before the movie, maybe she's going to be having use some force powers at some point. Which maybe she will in one of the future movies, because she's not dead.
like when she was younger, she was quite feisty warrior. So it kind of surprises me then she didn't get into some of the training to sort of at least move something, you know.
At least if you need a coffee or something, you just
and she doesn't even do that. So it's kind of like, okay, so, and the only moment we see is that she notices when Harrison Ford dies.
And she doesn't even seem...
the same thing again.
She doesn't even seem pushed because, you know, like, it could be maybe he dies and then it forces more of, you know, the forces the force out of her for one of the sequels. But she doesn't even seem... I mean, she seems sad about the fact he's dead, but didn't seem devastated.
Her character a lot. Like, she never... Her character before was... Don't tell me what I can't do, and she would be on the Millennium Falcon before her Han Solo was, and now she just is completely behind the scenes, completely reticent of joining in on the action. You know, it's basically like, here's a hug and you're, you know, take her lunch. Bye.
She was what Daisy Ridley's character. She was the "do not hold my hand" character.
I know.
You know, which is basically Daisy Ridley. You know, took over that character, so I can appreciate them maybe not wanting to leave. But why like,
can't
that's
you
what
have
Leia...
two strong women?
That's a
I disagree that a strong woman is just stipulated by her being snarky.
I agree, but
it's a kind of the tragedy of being a part of the institution and getting a lot of responsibilities, and you know.
But they definitely.
But she wasn't throwing that around either.
Yeah, she definitely felt like
barking orders. She wasn't getting intense on anyone.
Her and C-3PO, because R2-D2 had a purpose as well, but her and C-3PO definitely felt the most like we need a Will in a couple of cameos. You know, Harrison Ford and Chewbacca. You know, they were cemented into this and baked into it. But those two, you could imagine if she had said no, they were going, okay, we can fix these things then. We don't need you necessarily to be in the movie, and you wouldn't have to change the movie much. You just have some other general who's running the rebellion or resistance. You know, that's how it felt to me. It felt like when they wrote it, they didn't know if they were going to get her or not for sure.
Maybe they didn't.
But she's like, in her interviews and stuff, she's said, you know, I am Princess Leia, and I will always be Princess Leia until I die. She never seemed like... She seemed like she was waiting by the phone, you know, always 110% on board. I don't think there was ever hesitation that she would be a part of the project. I feel like there would have been more hesitation that Harrison Ford would have signed up.
I feel though, with how this is though, they had to have got him straight away from the
beginning. He's a much more used actor in other films than she is.
But I'm just saying that I think, you know, if someone comes up with the pitch, this is what we want to do, and you know his character's in it that much, you're like, well, we have to go to him first before we can write this thing, because
I agree, but
you don't waste time on something like that.
I feel like she was way underused. That made me a bit bummed.
Definitely. But let's be fair, it's a 2.25-hour movie. There's a lot to do in this movie, and a lot happens, and it barely stops to breathe. You know, you can't. You know, you lose things. People get lost in the mix a little bit, and maybe in the sequels she'll pay off.
Because it bums me out because she might not be around for that many more. You never know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like, again, going back to the passing on thing, you know, because the character of Rey is so important that if Princess Leia was a bit stronger, then it may not have had that balance of like.
The next person who says we can't have two strong women in one film.
We're not saying you can't have two strong women in one. I mean, I actually think I think it would have worked better for Daisy to have had someone who was pushing her. You know,
she needed a little like Mama Duck action. Kind of like help her how to stand up to the boys.
So since we're talking about the old cast,
they only have that one moment at the end where they like actually even have a conversation.
Which was weird as well because Han Solo's just died. They come back. Carrie Fisher's been left, you know, running the fort, or whatever, sitting around, going, someone just died. They come back, and Chewbacca just walks straight past her. Like, that's your old friend, and the person who was dearest to both of you just died.
Right.
And instead you go to the new chick, who you just met yesterday? I don't think so. There would be a sincere, just her and Chewbacca.
I even felt like there should have been
tummies.
not necessarily like a memorial of
some sort. Absolutely.
I was expecting some huge
I thought
thing of... something to do with
a sort of celebration of Han Solo.
A celebration, or even just like a nominal grave or a nominal something.
I genuinely thought what was going to happen was because it was mirroring A New Hope so much that at the end of New Hope they get their medals and there's a ceremony. I thought you were going to get this ending that was like that, but it was at a funeral. Right. And it wasn't somber. I mean, it was obviously, but it wasn't. It was a kind of celebration of Han Solo's things he had done. And and then you'd look around and Rey wouldn't be there, and she had taken a ship to go, and then it still ends like that. She had taken a ship on her own to like sneak off on her own to go and find.
And maybe even Chewie sees her like exit, and he climbs on board with her or something. So that establishes that pilot-co-pilot relationship with them.
Yeah, because that's an interesting dynamic to leave it with. Because it ends with her and Chewie out on their own,
right? And
I really expected it to end with her and BB-8 out on their own, because that seems to be the obvious partnership that's going on. So it's interesting to do that. But I think they're keen to make sure Chewie has a partner, because Chewie doesn't work on his own.
No,
you have to have him
understand him.
Yeah, well, she can.
I mean, for me, what they did about Rey is so smart and in a way, a bit too much. That Rey is basically the mixture of 3 greatest characters.
Yeah. She absolutely is. No, that's true.
Luke,
she's got
and Princess Leia. You know, she's got the sass of Princess Leia. She's got everything,
but she's got the smuggling kind of explorative adventure-y vibe of Han Solo, and then the Jedi side of.
She's technically like he's good with mechanics.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right.
The Force as well.
You're absolutely right. She's all of them.
All of those scenes with...
She can just kill everyone.
They're both like working together, aren't they? When they're in the...
Yeah, her and Han like immediately have a bond and stuff.
Like, what's his face? Kylo Ren even mentions to her at one point, he's like, what, you think that he's your father that you've never had? You know, like, he kind of turns into that father figure for her immediately.
So since we're going through the old characters quickly before we talk about all the new actors, let's talk about someone who might be her father. Might not. Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, Abrams. So he wasn't in any of the posters, he wasn't in the trailers. There was all these conspiracy theories. Are they hiding him? Is he doing something really insidiously weird in the film, and that's why they're just not showing anything? No, there wasn't any big twist about it at all. It was literally just, he's not in the film. He is in one shot at the end, essentially. One scene.
Pretty good shot, I must say.
You know, there's always a quest.
Absolutely. But it was just interesting because everyone, we knew he was going to be in this. And people had seen him with the beard and stuff, but no one knew how much he was going to be in. And we presume, since Abrams is very good at throwing red herrings and getting people off the scent, that he might be in it more, and he could even have been Kylo Ren, or he could have something more.
He never actually said that voiceover line.
No.
Never heard that.
That was kind of quoted from Return of the Jedi, but I think he re-recorded it. So let's the ending. Then she's standing on a rock. Yeah. She's brought him back his lightsaber. Luke is just hanging out on a rock watching the sea, apparently. Apparently that's what he does.
Looking old
looking old, cold, sad.
Though.
Clearly from his face, understanding what's happening out there in the world, understanding Han Solo's died, and understanding what's going on with the
First Order.
Whenever I put it, that's what you're going to say. For me, it was a natural ending. I liked it. You're waiting for it. You're like, you gotta show us Luke before we finish. I even thought it might have been cheeky enough not even to show him turning around. I was like, how far are you going to go with this? But then it was a bit. The very last shot was a bit. She's just standing there holding out the lights.
I thought that's gonna fly, and
and he's just gonna grab it.
Goes to Luke.
And then he's gonna
that's what I was waiting for.
No, I just thought he would at least take it, accept it back.
Or just say, no, this is yours now, or something. I mean, it was a good ending. I liked it. It was great. I thought Mark Hamill looked good as well.
He aged well.
Yeah.
Or even if he went to take it from her and it didn't come to him anymore. If it was passing it on. And so that was dun, dun,
but I'm sure they'll get into that in the next one.
I didn't like that last shot at all.
I didn't like how long it just went on for. It just felt weird and awkward. And very much opposing for, now we're done with the film and we're waiting for the credits kind of thing.
But it made us think though, because it was uncomfortably long. It was like the thing from the Inception.
No, the spinning top.
Yeah.
The thing is, you're just not holding it out. Just do something. Either just stand there, or if you don't want anything like that to be said, then either just stand there or walk towards him, or just something. It was just very much this is an acting moment. This isn't a real world moment.
They were so far apart from each other. It just there was something about that shot and the framing. It just really bugged me.
But we end still not knowing. It's good. There's still some mysteries. We don't know who Daisy's, who Rey's parents are, why she's waiting on Jakku, and keeps wanting.
She was waiting for her family on Jakku.
Yeah, I know, but you don't know who they are, do you? You don't really know. Were they just regular people and they died? Or are they connected?
In a ship.
Yeah,
So
is she connected to Luke? Is she connected to someone else? You know,
How did she learn to fight?
Right. And
Yeah.
fly.
Yeah.
And pick up all that stuff.
It's just the Force.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that cool burp that she had?
The burp
Whatever you
was
call
awesome.
them. I don't know what you call this.
I don't know. That was a brand new one.
Ships?
That was a new one.
Yeah.
It was a bike sort of thing, but
it was awesome.
I was expecting her to have a new lightsaber that's a stick.
Stick like.
Interesting.
But she didn't.
Yeah, the design. So the old cast. Other than Leia, we're all in agreement. We liked how they used pretty much everyone from the old cast.
C-3PO.
I don't like C-3PO. I know they're gonna get.
He's a
big
fan
right now.
favorite. You got to bring C-3PO in, and he's a robot, so he's not gonna die.
Can I ask a question about R2-D2? If R2-D2 had woken up earlier and sort of told people that he's actually got rest of the map, did it save a lot of
It didn't really clarify why he just woke up when he woke up.
Yeah.
It seemed to be that it went on that movie logic of, well, Han Solo just died.
Yeah.
So the kind of balance of characters in the film changed, and we accept it.
Yeah.
Because something changed that was dramatic,
But
and then that can cause a change somewhere else.
What was
but in
set
reality,
up
that
was
doesn't really make
that
sense.
he would wake up when the Master comes back.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that was because Rey returned and like the Force is.
Oh,
Rey became.
Embodied that.
Interesting.
I like it.
Yeah, that could be right.
Yeah.
That could be right.
That's true because she did.
But then you
find
should
out
have had
about-
something just of her maybe
her
touching
Jedi
him or
powers.
something.
Yeah.
Like if she had like come back and
or even walked by him.
even nonchalantly, while talking to
Should.
someone and just rested
Yeah.
against him or something, and then he just suddenly buzzed into life.
Yeah. That would have been nice touch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was happy with, other than Leia, just how they were
I didn't
used.
like at the end where you didn't know where she was going in that ship with Chewie, and you would think that if the rest of the Resistance knew where Luke was, that why would they just send her and Chewie?
Yeah, I wondered.
Like Leia's been looking for him for.
I
how many
didn't
years?
like that with the warp drive everywhere is attainable like that. I like a sense of
It took like 2 minutes.
Yeah, because they spent ages, they look at a map, it's a long way away, and I thought, cool, they're going to be starting on this adventure, and that's what the second film will be about.
That's exactly
it's starting
what
an
I thought.
adventure, but then I thought we were maybe going to get a shot of Luke, noticing something on his own, knowing that they're coming, or something like that. Because I knew we had to see him, but I thought they're surely not going to get to him that quick, because, but no, they just did warp drive, they're there, off you go.
Like even I don't know. I'm gonna spit it out, but if Leia, as she's watching Rey fly off or whatever, and she's like, "May the Force be with you," and then you like cut to Luke somewhere that you don't know where he is, and he's like, "And also with you," and then it ends. It's like, and then you know that he's there, that he's going
he's seeing
toward
what's
him.
going on and blah,
I
blah.
just didn't like how quickly. This
It was a big
because
wrap up.
The payoff should be as palpable and as intense as the quest, and it just.
I was looking forward to a proper journey.
Yeah.
In the next one, but we'll see. All right, so let's talk about some of the new characters, some of the new actors.
Yeah.
We've name-checked a bunch of them. But let's talk like Adam Driver as Kylo Ren, Daisy Ridley playing our new lead as Rey, secondary lead is John Boyega as Finn. They're really the three main characters, I'd say, to talk about.
I was really pleased by how quickly they managed us to be fond of Rey and Finn's character. We grew fond of them quite quickly. Within the first few scenes they had, we were
they grew fond of each other really quickly.
Exactly.
As well.
Very quickly.
Yeah, that was really well done.
I thought it was very interesting. I mean, we knew he was a stormtrooper, obviously, from the trailers. Obviously people didn't know. Some thought maybe he was undercover as a stormtrooper. But I actually thought it was a great extra aspect to give to the film of having a stormtrooper in conflict like that, and then just learning that little bit more. I've never read any of the extended universe, so I don't really know much about it, but just having that definitive thing of they take children from their parents and then they train them to be this thing. It made you look at every other fight in a much more complicated way. And when he was killing stormtroopers, I wanted a moment where he felt more regret killing some of his comrades.
Dove right into that.
He was just pleased to be shooting them all. And
you saw in the first scene when he sees one stormtrooper fall down dead and then they wipe the blood. That affects him. And then he's
you need
able
to just start shooting them all.
You don't have any other stormtroopers concerned if anyone gets shot or falls. They're meant to be mechanic. No personality.
And that was something that I don't buy that there wasn't time for that, because that's just a 5-second shot of him afterwards just looking sad for a second. That's all it is. Yeah. Or just bending down to one of them to kind of, take the helmet off.
The only resistance was when one stormtrooper recognized him.
Yeah.
And they had like that cool battle. That was the first lightsaber battle.
That was the first lightsaber battle.
Yeah.
Which was an interesting, So I loved John Boyega. I thought he was great.
Yep.
I thought he had a great amount of charisma. He was funny. He had a lot of pathos in him.
Yeah.
And he played what was quite a difficult role, I thought, very well, because he's sort of weak, but he's also good at what he does. And I thought that was interesting. He's scared a lot of the time as well, which was a nice aspect to have, because normally in these films, everyone's just like, let's just go do this. Adam Driver's Kylo Ren, we talked a bit about that already. I thought his performance was fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't need to see his face so early.
Agreed.
And Daisy Ridley is Rey. Now this is where it gets complicated for me, because I thought I've been most excited about her because she's the poster child. Everyone's gone crazy for her. Her whole life is obviously going to completely change now for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
She's stunningly beautiful. She's incredibly good. Like, the character is fantastic, and I thought it was a well-written character, very well-directed character, and I thought she was excellent at all the physicality of the character. I thought she was superb at. There was a bunch of dialogue that I didn't think she was good at. A lot of the talking, I found her to be pretty stiff and just felt quite... And I still thought it was good, but I thought the good bits were the dialogue and the directing and... the fact that she looked great in the role. Her face was great, the clothes she was wearing, the costume design. But her actual performance in a lot of the dialogue, I wasn't buying. I thought it was quite weak.
Yeah.
Almost all of it.
Really? They can't just say that. Like,
I can't remember most of it.
No, because there were a couple of scenes that took me out of the movie.
It was just... I just thought she was pretty stiff. I just, right from the beginning, I felt her delivery of dialogue was quite stiff. In a way that only... she seems like a very nice lady in interviews, so I'm not saying it in a mean way, but in a way that only pretty UK actresses can be. There was a plummy stiffness to how she approached a lot of the dialogue that I just felt lacked the maturity it needed, and it just felt a bit amateurish, but in particular next to everything else, because I thought everyone else was incredible. She had moments where she was fine, but I was really impressed with her, and I think she'll grow, and I think by the next one she'll probably have learned a lot.
Definitely.
But she's very, what else has she really done? I don't really know. Was she...
I didn't really feel that, and I definitely felt that with Mark Hamilton in the first...
Oh, Mark Hamill, he's pretty stiff, absolutely. In the first one.
But Daisy, no, I didn't really catch that.
There's a lot of shoes to fill. I mean, it's like you were saying, she is like a mashup of... Leia and Solo, and she's got, and then she has to have her own personality injected in there as well, and she has to balance the Finn character because she has to be, stand on her own 2 feet, and she has to be a force, no pun intended, to be reckoned with, but at the same time, she has to balance his kind of lost puppiness that he's got going on and his inner turmoil. And she has a lot. I mean, I agree that there were some lines that needed tweaking, but I thought all in all that she did a great job.
No, I thought she did a great job. I just it was just took me by surprise because I was going into this ready to really look at this new star and think that she was the thing I was going to be most impressed with. She was going to blow me away, and instead immediately, and I'm in no way to this degree, but there were elements of a kind of Hermione kind of thing to it where I just felt you're chewing on that dialogue too much, and you kind of, I don't know, you're not. It didn't feel as fluid. But to sit there and look at it at the view, or to shout at him and then run really quickly, and all of the kind of drama and stuff when she wasn't really talking so much, or the action, I thought she was fantastic as. And obviously has an incredible face. Like, her face is so dynamically beautiful, but also kind of real and honest, and she looks actually in this way younger than I thought she was from everything else. Like, everything else I thought she'd been this year.
She looks like a young Carrie Fisher.
She looked really young in this film.
How old? Carrie Fisher was what, 19?
Yeah, 19.
How old is...
I don't know, because she looked, in Daisy in this looks 19.
She does.
And I thought she was in her mid-20s or something. She is... Sorry, if I keep going on my phone, it's just because I'm looking up info. She was born in 1992, so she's 23. Yeah. But they made her look young.
Yeah,
they did.
Well, she has that great natural freckly complexion.
Yeah.
So...
Great. Okay, so they're all the new characters.
I'm just wondering why I didn't catch the weirdness in the dialogue, because I'm usually really
you're very critical.
Very good. Like, oh god, you know. But for some reason, I didn't catch it. I'm just wondering why. Is it the editing? Is it the direction that was well done, or is it like something masked it really well for me? And I don't know what it is.
Well, her action sequences were great.
Yeah.
Like when she was moving and doing something and talking, she was superb.
Yeah.
I need to watch it again.
If you just had one-on-one conversation, she was a bit stiff.
It is a little stiff. Let's talk a little bit about the world quickly then. Then the use of CGI and practical. That was a big thing Abrams said when he was doing Star Wars. I want to get back to the practical. You know, obviously, infamously, the prequels were all shot on blue screen. Everything was CGI. You can't watch the old films right now without seeing George Lucas's supplemented CGI bits plastered all over them, until Disney, very, very soon, hopefully, are wise enough to know, hey, we can make a load of money by selling the original versions of these films. So everyone was excited about the creatures and the sets and things like that, and stuff we hadn't really seen much of in the trailers, because they were keeping a lot of that under wraps. The aliens, you know, the bars. And there were a lot of bars, there were a lot of marketplaces, there were a lot of junkyards, sort of monastery things.
Abandoned ships. And
there were a lot of aliens, a lot of throwbacks to the old films, a lot of Easter eggs, lots of reoccurring characters or reappearing characters. So I know Mark Hutchins, who we keep talking about, who was with us, who was one of the biggest Star Wars fan amongst us. He realized all the puppet stuff. He had a problem with all the CGI characters. He thought they weren't up to scratch. In particular, two characters. One which was, I've forgotten his name now, the new supplementary Emperor. The one who Andy Serkis played, which was the Supreme Leader Snoke. Yeah. He really was just a new Emperor, only really big.
It's just a hologram.
I know. I want when they meet him, he's actually, 2 feet tall or something.
Kind of disappeared too, which I found was weird.
Yeah. I mean, is it fair to sort of criticize CGI on something that is hologram? Like, it's not supposed to be real.
Yeah, but he didn't. I admit, it took me by surprise. I was just, why? Because he was a full. So let's be clear. The two characters I'm about to talk about, that Mark Hutchins had trouble with, and I had trouble with, are entirely CGI characters. And one was that, and the other one was, I have no idea what it was called. The little orange thing with the goggles that they go to. Yeah. And for me, that was the point in the film where it started to lose its pace a little bit. And started to.
I love the character though.
I like the character. It was very Harry Potter-y.
It was, really Harry Potter-y. It was like picking out your wand.
Yeah.
It was a whole scene.
And it was played by.
Who was it?
Lupita, right?
Oh yeah, Lupita. How do you say that name?
She's so young, whereas the character is. Got that wiseness. I would never have known that. So she is so well to play somebody who's that wise.
That's amazing.
Hey, she's 32.
She does not look 32. 32.
Yeah, no, the character was great. The voice acting was great. I thought the scene was a little bit slow because they spent quite a lot of time there. But yeah, the CGI of that really put me off.
It was a bit plasticky,
because the rest of the movie, there is CGI. There are CGI monsters. There are more CGI creatures, I think, than they implied. Because you're expecting in Jakku for there to all be, like the big, when she's getting the water drink out of the trough, and there's the big creature, and that's all CGI. Yeah. And it clearly is CGI. The head, I don't think, is at a point. They have some close-up frames where there's practical. But you were expecting big practical creatures, and there are a bunch, and they're really cool. Some of the designs are really cool. But I didn't mind that one too much. But when you get these long scenes with her, I was just, why wouldn't you do, why not do practical and then just do some CGI on that? Like, why not have someone? And I mean, you were just rewatching the originals, and you're saying you've forgotten how Yoda is in the non-touched up scenes.
Yeah.
It's just a little dirty puppet.
It just doesn't look real,
It doesn't,
and because it doesn't look real, you can put your emotion to it, and that's the whole point of puppeteering.
But nowadays you can, add to that. You can have something like that, and then you can add some CGI things to make it more real. Yeah. That for me was a really weird decision for Abrams to make. He had made such a particular thing. It was going to be more practical, and you have this quite central character, only for one scene, but very central and necessary character with a lot of dialogue, and all CGI. And to me, it's like, you look all CGI. You look kind of like Dobby from Harry Potter.
I agree with that.
And it looks a bit strange. How do you guys feel about the overall world and in that kind of context of sets and stuff like that?
I didn't really think we got a lot of new stuff. We didn't get new landscape or new things to look at. We got some new creatures, but not ones that really, blew me away by any means. Nothing that was like, oh my gosh! Like even when we were in what was the name of it?
Jakku, which essentially is just a variation of Tatooine.
Yeah,
like it's just not a
sandy
sandy
walked
planet.
in and it looked like Tatooine. It looked like the same bar scene, everything. But that's what I'm saying is I just didn't feel some of them were great sets, but I didn't feel like, wow, this is a fresh take on something I've already seen.
The last scene was new though. That scenery we never saw.
The water. Yeah.
But it just looks
in
like
terms
of
creatures, in particular, the creature that was riding the weird thing that was trying to steal BB-8 at the beginning in the net. That was
the
thing it was riding was great. It had this big blocky head that was kind of half machine, half creature.
They look like the characters from Beneath.
Yeah, they did. That's how I wanted it. No, I thought there was some great new character designs, but so much old stuff coming back to the point that it was wonderful, but then also a little bit, like we said earlier, maybe a few too many callbacks.
Just a lot of sand.
But it was nice to see sets again in Star Wars, and it was beautiful to see proper sandy environments. It was like, that's not faked. They're in the desert. Like when the explosion goes off in front of I'm forgetting everyone's name right now. Not Rey. The lead guy.
Finn.
I don't want to say Rin. I'm just
very. I don't know why I can't think of everything.
When the explosion in the sand goes off, Finn. That looked 100% real. Like that. It's just they blew up some sand and right in front of his face.
Don't think it was though.
No, probably not. But I think the explosion was, but I don't think him standing there was necessary anyway.
No.
It was nice.
Notice how BB-8 is when he something shoots him across. By the way, his head doesn't ever come off. I was half expecting him to kind of
lose his head at some point.
roll around trying to find his head, and then it's kind of whoop, and
I don't think they want to open that can of worms of how does it work.
True. But I was surprised to see him shoot across in one of the sand explosions and stay intact. He just hit the ground rolling.
But that was so important. Can you imagine this film? If any other director had done it, and most would have done it this way, and BB-8 would have been 100% CGI. Can you imagine how different this film would be? If you didn't have that physicality of her interacting with him and him right there. And just that slight clumsiness of everything. Even all of his peering around stuff, which was adorable. It's slightly flawed, and that
just
makes
sort
it
wobbly.
Well, it looks like he was made.
It really does.
And he looked like a later model than R2-D2.
He looked like a proper evolution.
When he went up and interacted with R2-D2 or didn't really interact, he was looking at it what are you?
It was quite funny to think that I thought BB-8 recognized R2-D2 and he knows the stories of
They seem to know. They did seem to know each other, and I didn't know if it was just because was that his particular name BB-8, or is that just the model's name? So they knew other C-3PO knew other BB-8s.
Well, they said he was a BB model. They kept saying
so maybe he knew the actual particular one. That's interesting.
It felt like, oh, you're the famous R2-D2 kind of look.
Yeah, it was. That's true.
Everybody was meeting their heroes.
Yeah, exactly.
But I definitely, out of all the worlds we saw, I think Jakku was the most beautiful. The landscape, and you actually saw the massive destroyed ships in the background. She was going Mad Max styling and going collecting all the broken parts.
Having that constant connectability to the old Star Wars films was very smart. There were a lot of incredibly smart decisions I felt in this movie on how to tie it through like that.
And some cuts were beautiful. We were talking about the sun and It's actually not the sun, is it? It's explosion of a planet, I think.
Was it? I don't know.
I think so, but anyway, it was so beautiful. There's so many beautiful parts.
I'm just going to check the camera to make sure things are still
ruining the sun.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
What?
The Death Star is ruining our sun.
That would ruin the entire galaxy.
Everything would just be cold all the time.
That would, everything would die.
All
of their stuff would die.
At least they made it normal that how long it would take to charge that thing, though. I was so glad it wasn't like, we can have it done and ready and blow up planets in 10 minutes. You know, at least it took a long time. Yeah. I mean, of course, it was the perfect amount of time for them to get in there and find the weak spots, but still.
Yeah. All right, let's do a couple more things.
Can we talk about the lameness of the food, by the way?
Oh,
how
food.
Identifiable.
You had the water food with the bread that expanded.
That was the only cool thing.
That was so cool.
That was cool.
I want that.
That was one of those points. That was one of those points where it was just the details so good.
Yeah. Cake.
Yeah.
Those are honestly, I just fucking love those first 2 acts. I just love it. The setting up all that stuff and just the world and her going, you know, to trade stuff in.
I love
that
scene.
I know we're gonna bypass it. Come on, you guys.
I didn't even notice.
I noticed. I recognized every single fruit in every bowl. I recognized what she was holding, which was just half an apple with a piece of romesco on the top, by the way. I know it looks weird, but that doesn't make it alien food. And those 2 things don't go together.
That is not good food.
Bullshit. That's always what I look for in those fun films. Is it's like
inventive.
kind of weird food they come up with that most people are eating, and I was really underwhelmed.
Well, they had their
that.
one thing.
It was
with
like
the bread,
they just
and then they thought,
random stuff from catering, and they were like, "This is okay. Just act like you're eating it. Gross. I don't want to. Yeah, just do it."
I honestly didn't even notice that scene happening. I didn't even notice that scene. I didn't notice anyone eating other than the moment when she had bread.
I noticed it.
Ray was eating.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice it.
But those were the only 2 foods, right?
Yeah, I know. But still.
There was nothing else.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
The Tatooine scene, I felt way more. I know that I don't even think they ate anything in that.
The GQ scene.
No,
just her.
In the originals in Tatooine.
In the originals. Fuck, I
feel like they had cool stuff, but I don't know. I feel like he could have done more.
Yeah.
I think they should have done the Death Star canteen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you did have a new...
the tray is hot.
You did have a new little band moment as well, which was like the cantina as well and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you good?
Yeah. Want it out there in the open.
So let's talk a little bit, just quickly. We touched on a lot of stuff, obviously, so we kind of come back to a couple of things, but just to solidify, we're all happy with Han Solo dying. We're happy with that. His character coming in so strong, being there for most of the film, and that's it. I mean, I really don't see they'll bring him back. I hope they don't.
I mean, from the writing point of view, he had to, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I agree. Was it Mark Hutchins who said they should have labored with that a bit more?
Yeah.
I thought as soon as he started to walk out on that plank, I was like, and he's going to stab him with his lightsaber.
Yeah.
And he's going to act like he's thinking about it, but he switched way too quick. There was no hemming and hawing. It was just immediate.
Well, I don't think he was thinking about it. I think it was just...
No, I know, but I'm saying even from Han Solo's perspective, there was no I believe you.
Yeah.
Except from a clouded father perspective.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
He was such a strong character in this film. And if we don't get rid of him and not linger too much, then it's going to be so hard for the next generation.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So, yeah.
It's like
for
you said,
that reason,
passing the
I'm
baton.
that was the best, good thing to do.
I think it's absolutely the right thing to do for Kylo Ren. Because you needed to have him being pushed. I thought it was going to be... I genuinely did think in points in the film he's going to go with the light side. And I thought it was going to be really interesting.
I thought so.
You're actually going to have him turn out to be this cool new attribute, and he'll join up.
You didn't buy it.
I didn't buy it at all for a second.
I genuinely did, but only in the points where you had him really struggling himself. He clearly was at points struggling by himself at points.
Yeah.
And I genuinely thought that might happen, and I thought that would be kind of cool to have something where you actually see a bad guy turn good for once, rather than always the other way around. And to have this new character, but I did then wonder what are they going to go up against? If you got Kylo Ren and you had these 2 new leads, and Chewie and stuff like that's a lot of cool characters.
I feel when you have that inner disturbance with a character who's you're supposed to take as bad and he's fighting against being good, or vice versa, you have to have him out of his own bad element in order to maybe make that transition actually happen. Like, it's usually the bad guy is somehow stranded where all of the good people are. And then they see the pros or the life that they could have. But he doesn't know Han Solo. He only knows that
we don't know. We don't know how long he was brought up, because he was brought up with Han Solo and Leia, and then he was trained by Luke.
So you don't. But you don't.
So he rebelled at one point while being trained by Luke, and we don't really get an idea of how old. He could have been a kid. He could have been a teenager. We don't really know.
Yeah.
So I honestly, my only problem with it, I think it made sense, Han dying, absolutely. I think it was necessary for the new characters, so that in the next films you don't have to keep concentrating on the old ones as much. Chewie's a great sidekick.
I guess I wanted to see a little bit more decorum.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think it makes sense for Kylo Ren's character. I also think it's kind of a shame for Kylo Ren's character, because it means now 100% in the next ones he's just going to be a baddie. He's just going to be a baddie. There's no getting him back. And that's just kind of boring.
Am I reading in too much by saying, like, him saying, "Would you help me?" means that by killing you, I can really make up my mind to
he knew what he had to do was to kill his father in order to move to the dark side, and he wanted him to make it easy on him.
Which does mirror Luke's journey.
Yeah.
With Darth Vader.
Yeah. But even Darth Vader, you see a struggle in him at points, because he's starting from the really bad place, and then by the end he sort of comes out of it, but it's just too late. And obviously with the prequels, you understand them, how he was good and it went bad and went good again. And in this, I mean, I guess they could do that same thing, like, because he clearly was good at one point, and then he kind of went bad, and at the end of this he's gone way off the deep end, so then he can go fully bad. Maybe he can come back in at some point, but for me it's just way less interesting when he's just going to be a baddie from now on, and there's not going to be any internal struggle, and knowing that he is just this young, sort of bratty looking kid in a way.
Did they give any kind of hint to how old he is? Is he the same sort of age as?
As when it happened. Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, from the look of it.
But actually, now I'm thinking, because Rey is so strong, and we established that Rey is a lot stronger. What is he gonna do in the next one?
Well, he's gonna be stronger.
He can never win.
He's gonna be stronger now, because that was his whole point. Is the dark side's always stronger. That's going to be the thing. The dark side always has more power to it, and that's why it's more tempting. Didn't you know that? That's the key to life, Tamara. Go do that thing. But yeah, that's why he needed to do it, because he wasn't fulfilling his full potential by being a little bit on the fence. So by killing his father,
now he's ready to be taught.
You have to give yourself completely
to one. And that was the last thing.
That was after he killed Han Solo, though.
What?
They're still struggling. But I mean, he then has to go. It's good. He's on the road essentially, and the last thing the new Emperor guy, I'm not going to call him his name because he's just a new Emperor guy, was saying was, bring him to me to be taught, to be trained or whatever. I think he's just he's going to obviously become more powerful in the next ones. She was pretty insurmountably powerful straight away, which was an interesting decision.
How did you know about Jedi mind tricks?
But that's the thing. It's all lore, isn't it? In that world, they've all heard the story.
So she tried it out and hope for the best.
Yeah, I think so.
I
think so. As long as it's all been like campfire stories.
She's heard all the stories,
and she's heard what you can do if you have the Force. So she thought, I'm gonna try my trick.
So maybe I do have it.
I thought that was a good scene.
When he dropped it, and I will drop my gun. Are we also supposed to assume that Kylo Ren lost his helmet?
No, because he left it. I was keeping.
And you never see it again.
But no. So I was keeping tabs on his helmet because I don't like him with it off, and I was hoping, please don't let him always have his helmet off for the sequels. He needs that helmet on more so, if nothing. And he's going to have the scar now, so I thought, great, he's going to have to wear it like Darth Vader was disfigured. He's going to have to wear the helmet now. I mean, he's got a wardrobe of those helmets. Let's not kid ourselves.
That one was all dented.
It was dented.
If he had 7 of them,
he left that one.
Wouldn't have worn that
one on that rampart. It was just left there, sitting. They didn't fall off.
Dropped perfectly.
You can see it just sitting there
on a 3-foot wide rampart.
I was a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Harrison Ford or whatever right age he is, standing on that little gangplank thing. That was all that was in my head. I was like, sir, please step off. Like, there are no railings on either side of this. I'm scared for your safety. You're not going to get around to him killing you. You're just going to say something and fall.
And how did they pass the inspection?
Yeah, that was not a health and safety environment.
Do you really want to give a negative review to the Death Star? I'm sorry, Mr. Red. There's some things.
And finally, I know we touched on it as well, but Captain Phasma.
I was about to say, all the knocks. You can see, like, she's always, like, that's what she does. She is powerful, but you don't see anything.
Yeah, she does nothing at all. And she was in the trailer, and everyone got quite excited because she looked really cool.
I thought that'd be amazing.
And female, like, super
shinier than everybody else.
Yeah, she's shinier, and she's honestly becomes a bit of a joke. She has a couple of lines of dialogue, and then they bring in and just kind of use her very easily. And that's the last you see of her, and then she's left to be in a trash compactor. Obviously, she's not dead. I'm sure they'll bring her back and do something more with her. But they've already undermined her, to be honest.
You see she's got all this, like, battle-worn armour that just doesn't do anything.
So it'll be interesting. Let's look at moving forward quickly before we sign off on this, unless anyone else has more to say. But yeah, I feel they've left some things. So I think, because the way this is working out is Abrams is meant to be overlooking a bunch of it with them, but he's not controlling. No one's really controlling. They get to do their own things a little bit. Like Ryan Johnson, who's doing 8, who's the director of Looper, Brothers Bloom, and Brick.
Cool. He, different film altogether.
Very different film. But he's a true visionary director. He doesn't ever quite nail it. Hopefully this will be the one where he does. But he's a true visionary director. He's got more interesting ideas than Abrams, but Abrams nails it more often, in my opinion. But no, Ryan Johnson, he's doing 8. He said he in an interview he did get to have some influence over what happened in this film, so he could say, well, I'm planning this and this and this for my one. Do you mind just putting that line in or that little moment in? So there's already been some stuff put in here that will lead into 8. It's obviously clearly not planned out as much as Marvel do, where they have full control of this is what's happening. These are the characters you can use. They're giving the directors quite a lot of creativity with these Star Wars films to do stuff they want to do. So 8 could feel very different. And I feel there's some stuff left in the air, like I say, like for me, Ken is. Ken? I'm out of it.
Finn?
No, not Finn. The baddie.
Ben.
Kylo Ren. Ken. I'm just compressing the words.
He's called Ben.
He's called Ken. Yeah, it's called Ben.
Because
Uncle
Ben is
Luke's uncle in the original.
Well,
Uncle Ben.
No, Ben is Obi-Wan to Luke.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the name of his uncle in The New Hope?
Oh, that I don't know.
Cool. Yeah. I'm going with Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So maybe Luke named the son of
Han Solo in a weird incestuous moment.
Yeah.
What was one point? Yeah, like I was saying, people like Kylo Ren, I feel you've slightly undermined what you can do with that character now, because we know what he looks like. We know he's just whiny brat. If he's just an evil whiny brat, that's going to be less interesting.
Stronger and evil.
I don't see how he can be more interesting than he was in this film, essentially. I don't know how he could be a better character than he was in this film. And then, like we were just saying, Captain Phasma, I feel they've already undermined her, however you use her in the next one. There's a lot of things, Leia's already set a precedent of this is kind of how she is in this now, so you kind of have to, you can make her do more stuff, but you got to keep her in the realms of where she's been. There's a lot of stuff they kind of laid the brickwork for that it does make me a little bit worried with, can it be, because that's the big thing, everyone's so excited for this, but we got a new Star Wars film this year, we've got a new one next year with Rogue One, we've got a new one the year after with 8, we've got a new one the year after that with the Han Solo Young Years, whatever it's going to be called. It is Han Solo Young Years. Yeah. Then we got 9, and then they haven't said what's happening after that. But that's 5 years, probably 6 years, because I'm sure there'll be another one after that. Every year, Star Wars film. Wow. And the real question is, can people stay excited? Like, will people still be care about it? Are they gonna just overbake it? Marvel proves that people do keep coming back. Every year people come back for more and more Marvel films.
Yep.
But when you're dealing with, I'm just worried, can number 8, when it comes around in 2 years' time, be as interesting in this one? Can the characters get better?
Is it like James Bond kind of?
Yeah. I just worry, do you have to introduce new characters for it to, be as interesting as this one was? Can you build on where they've left the characters? Had they run into a few brick walls, do you think, with some of the characters for where they can really go?
Well, I don't think that there only has to be one villain either. Like, you're going to have sub-villains, and you're going to have, smaller adversaries. And, I think that you still have a lot of training that you have to go through with Rey. You have Finn, whose story is very undeveloped, because he's finally got to this point of realizing the limitations of his powers. And
what
then
is
to say
be?
what are they going to do with him?
Yeah.
When you know, because he's not just going to be a sidekick or whatever. They're going to do something.
And he's not Jedi, and he's not going to be. I don't think.
But he has. You can see a bit of the Force in him. Like he has.
Yeah.
He's on.
And he's not Han Solo. He's used to certain mechanics.
Yeah.
So he's got to really prove what is his use.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They could develop him further, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, because in this one it really was kind of the forward momentum of someone who basically wants to get out of everywhere because he's scared, and that allowed you to keep moving forward to different locations, different meeting different people. So yeah, what you do with him, if they're smart, they'll find something interesting for him to do.
But he survived, right?
Yeah, well, he's in a sort of coma thing, but he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Love interest.
But yeah, I worry.
I would be curious.
I worry with you. I think obviously Rey, there's tons you can do with her. And Finn, if they're smart, they'll figure out things to do with him. I think the new dynamic of Chewie with them it will be great. Chewie and BB-8 and those two is a great dynamic.
I mean,
Luke will obviously become.
Chewie definitely was getting old, right? The hair was a bit grey.
Yeah,
right?
it was a little bit grey. Yeah.
So he's.
I think Chewie's going to stick it out until maybe the last of this trilogy, and then he'll die probably.
Yeah.
He'll probably get a funeral.
Yeah. He's very big. He's very big. Yeah, but he's a great sidekick to have in all of this stuff because he doesn't speak or anything, so you don't have to worry about messing up the character too much. He's quite easy to write for.
BB-8.
BB-8, you got a great dynamic with all those characters. I do, like I say, worry they've run some things into the wall where those characters aren't ever going to be as interesting as they were in this episode.
Yeah.
So you need new ones. You got Luke coming in. They have to build Luke in an interesting way.
Maybe Leia will battle.
Yeah, Leia. That's what I was gonna say now.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Leia will what?
She battles her own son. You know, if they have to kind of bring her.
That's
not battles, but maybe like she tries.
She comes
to
a bit more forward now.
contest with him.
Yeah.
You know,
but
it's like the mother with the Force because Han doesn't really have the Force.
No.
So she is actually powerful.
Yeah.
And she's, like you said, she's been on the sidelines.
Yeah. They could evolve her character.
Bring her back in and not leave her on the sidelines so much.
Yeah. It'll be interesting when you bring Luke back with her, how that dynamic changes.
Yeah. Do they kiss again? No, Han's died. I mean, you know.
Like, hey.
They're free.
Yeah. He has a beard now.
Why is it? Who says it's wrong when it feels so right? He's it's like, is he going to be a Yoda figure now and just like speaking backwards with sentences?
He didn't speak.
Is he?
That's true.
Yeah, maybe he just doesn't speak. Maybe he says nothing.
He took a vow of silence and his lightsaber off his own tongue.
Does he shave it all off and leave a moustache?
I was expecting to see some resemblance of Yoda or like somebody who replaces the character, but no character did, right?
Well, that is the thing. You have to remember. Empire Strikes Back. What do you get? You get Yoda comes in that one. You get obviously. Man, my brain is completely gone. Jabba the Hutt in Return of the Jedi. Boba Fett is introduced briefly in Empire and hugely in Return of the Jedi.
An iconic character and amazing merchandise product. So I just don't see why they didn't.
That's what I'm thinking. I think what they need to do is they have to be smart with Kylo Ren. They've got to figure out a way to make him interesting again. You've got to build, obviously, Rey and Finn. But I feel that'll take care of itself. I think you have to find interesting new world characters. They've got enough people, I feel. We have enough people. Bring in the Jabba Hutt, bring in Ewoks, bring in Yoda, bring in Jar Jar Binks, bring in some interesting new alien characters.
Did
Boba
the CGI
Fett.
character die?
Which one?
Oh, no.
The
The world is being blown up, but they save it, don't they? Oh, did the whole world blow up?
Yeah, it was.
Did she
It was
die?
all on fire.
It wasn't blown up though.
It was wreckage.
It's not in a good state, but you don't see her die.
No, we don't.
No.
So she'll probably be back.
Maybe she comes back.
Which would be a shame. Make her a puppet. Devolve her into a puppet state.
Should be a hologram. And you still have the main villain. You still have the main villain.
but he's just going to be so boring, aren't he? The main villain's like...
No, but maybe you'll see him in person.
Yeah, it'll be all CGI and
Maybe
disappointing. Don't squish him. Done! Put a cup over him.
Like a spider.
Take you outside and we'll throw you. Yeah, so for me, that's really where it needs to go. They've built great, strong central characters now. They've got a great team together. I feel the old characters are ingested well into this new world. They need to build more of the universe. Yeah, for me. Yeah, some new planets, some new environments, and some new characters.
Better
like
food.
Yoda.
Better food.
Better food. A Boba Fett, obviously not a Boba Fett character, but like there's so many inventful characters like that who are so iconic.
I love Jabba the
Get
Hutt.
some of them. Yeah,
Jabba the
Jabba.
Hutt.
Get some of these guys.
He was like a pimp. I love
He
him.
was, yeah. All right.
That reminds me.
Ooh.
What about 6? Because in the
I like
original...
Is that just a suggestion for when we finish?
There's a band right there. So
I'll get the camera.
there was a lot of
Keep it
sex
rolling.
involved in the original trilogy.
Is there?
Like, there's a sex appeal.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
but this time we're not seeing much.
Well, they're very careful because
Yeah.
there's been, I mean, not to get into it because it's a huge debate, but there's been the huge thing about, Leia's slave costume, which, Disney have come out and said we're taking this out of all comics, taking it out of toy lines, we're taking it out of everything.
This little girl, young girl.
We don't want to know about what you watch.
Young girl saying, I think she looks good in that. She looks beautiful.
It's a very complicated, Carrie Fisher did come out a couple of weeks ago to say, I think this is ridiculous. I'm in my slave uniform because I was put in my slave uniform and then I killed the giant slug and then I take it off. And she does an empowering thing in the end of it. And she's a very empowering, confident, character in those first ones.
That is really nice because, HBO's... Like, these days we see more
a lot of sex
than before, but Star Wars got sort of...
I think Avengers are going to go way the other way. I don't think the lead character is ever going to be shown in a sexy way. She'll always be in robes.
You can still take your 12-year-old to go see Star Wars though, and feel comfortable knowing and secure that nothing is HBO is going to happen in there.
And no twins would kiss.
Yeah, well, these things happen. You too many drinks. But no, that's why I've always kind of liked. That's something that I've always loved.
Yeah, it is
Star Wars.
pure family soap opera.
Yeah,
true.
It is.
It's
There's a few
that your
spooky
family
bits.
and your kids can grow up with.
There's a few scary bits, but that's about it.
Well, yeah, but
like I can imagine some kids watching this because the first scene's probably the scariest. Really, I can imagine some kids watching this and not getting past that first one. Like, if the whole movie's this intense.
It's scary.
It's just it starts off quite mysterious, and then it's nighttime and things get blown up, people get killed, and then Kylo Ren comes out, doesn't really say anything. And then you got blood on the helmet. It's quite a dark opening.
Those things when they find Han Solo on that ship.
Oh yeah, the big tentacle things.
Yeah, those were good monsters.
Yeah, so that was cool because that was going
tongues
full out proper alien stuff,
Yeah.
which you have the worms, then the ship in Empire Strikes Back. They lots of creative aliens in the original, so let's get more of those.
Yeah,
let's do more stuff like that.
Yeah.
Creative aliens. Have more fun. You got the whole universe. They did. I don't think they could have done much more in this. They set up so much stuff. They did it great, but with the new ones, let's have some more fun.
Those monsters reminded me a lot of I can't remember which monster in particular. I think it's No Face in Spirited Away, where he gets really big and fat and where he's running and he's like sliding up the walls, and they reminded me a lot of that. That was really cool.
Like I said at the very beginning, before we watched the film, less Japanese. Like the original.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Japanese.
A lot of Japanese in it.
Yeah.
This one I didn't feel much of.
That's very
I just had to say as a Japanese.
No, it's true. From the lightsaber battles to Yoda to the training to the ethos of the Jedi, it had a very Japanese samurai kind of feel to it. This did not at all.
And Ford.
First Order?
First Order.
The Ford Focus.
First Order felt more Nazi.
Oh, so Nazi. That scene, and that was my least favorite
scene where they're having the
red
flag.
My least favorite scene in the whole film, and I knew it from the trailer it was going to be. I don't like it. A, because it doesn't look great. The CGI is not great.
Hand signal instead of
it looked like Mockingjay.
You have the guy that I just said I love from About Time and Ex Machina standing there screaming awful dialogue in an awful over top way. Tons of CGI stormtroopers, and then they all do the fist Nazi signal essentially. And you're just like, this is come on.
Agreed.
All right, So that was Force Awakens. We're gonna leave it on that down though. I love this one. Awesome. It was great. I really want to see it again.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna take my mum to see it next week or something.
2D?
Yeah, I'll see it 2D this time. And I would put it right up there. I'm not sure yet. I need to rewatch stuff, but I would put it right up there for me. I really enjoyed it.
I have 2D too.
I hate you so much. I really do hate you.
Oh man.
But yeah, I don't know exactly where it comes.
For those of you who don't know camera, that was supposed to be a joke. Supposed to be funny.
I would definitely give it at least a 9 out of 10 because I think the third act let it down a little bit for me. But other than that, great, about as good as I could have hoped it would have been. Really. All right.
Great.
Everyone good?
Yeah.
That's it. So that's all our special cast. You can see our episode 23, which should be just go to onto iTunes and type in Tessellate with 2 S's, 2 L's. We'll be right there, geeks. And please subscribe. Please leave comments. Leave a star rating. Tell us if you hate it, if you like it. And
Nathan, stay on the mic.
Nathan, stay on the fucking mic, man. It's ridiculous. And we will be back for episode. Yeah, and it's Tuesday with episode 20. What's going on? I've gone. Just come back.
We're not doing one when Alex is in London, right?
No. Oh yeah, so episode 24 will be up next Tuesday, and it's going to be us talking about our favourite films and games coming out in 2016. We're going to do a separate special on TV shows at some point of 2015, and then episode 25, will be a compilation of all of our quizzes, which is lots of fun. Tamara's on some of them. Chris, you involved in any quiz?
Yeah, the crazy one with the
the crazy quiz. So yeah, listen to that. It's a good
compilation.
compilation. That'd be like a new
I don't think it got aired though.
It'd be a New Year compilation. All right, we're gonna get some sleep.
Yeah.
Or go have sex, apparently. That's what Tamara.
I did not say that.
No, you said how about? And we're out. Geeks.
Geeks.